So about 3 weeks ago, on Tuesday evening, I decided to check out the online video that the guy who runs the used tool store tends to put up. He's pretty good about getting the video posted by Tuesday night at the latest. Occasionally, it doesn't get on until Wednesday in the morning. And on a rare occasion like this week, he didn't even have the video. But about 3 weeks ago, when I bought this item, I saw the video. I watched the video like I always do, and I'm always trying to pick out and see, because he goes down the aisles there and points out things, and I try to see if there's anything that he's not mentioning that may have, slipped his mind or whatever, or if there's just something that I'd be interested in. And he's going along, and he gets to this item, and he always says the price, almost always says the price of what he's asking for the item, and he said $80. So I, only got a quick look at it in the video, but I thought, I think that might be something I'd be interested in. Matter of fact, I think I'd be very interested in that item at that price. So the reason why he puts the video out on Tuesday is because he's closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. I think he's closed Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Anyways, Wednesday is the first day of the week that he opens up. And he opens up at 1 o'clock. So, anything new that came in the past few days, or anything new that he put out from his inventory in the past few days, your first shot at seeing it is that video that he posts. And your first shot at buying it is when he opens at 1 o'clock on Wednesday. And a lot of guys know this, so much so that it's one of the few stores in the city of Worcester that at 1 o'clock on Wednesday, people stand in line. And, not necessarily a huge crowd around the block type of thing, but, on any given day, you might have 3 or 4 guys out there, or you might have 6 or 8 guys out there waiting for him to open the door. And in the past, when I've seen something I was very interested in, I've tried to get there a little bit before opening time to be first in line. Because his policy is, if he's got a couple of guys hanging around the door there, and it turns out that more than one of them came for a specific item at opening, he always honors whoever was there first in line. He's been pretty good about that all the times that I've ever experienced it. There have been occasions, there's only been a couple occasions where I showed up late enough that I missed an item that I really wanted. The only one that sticks in my mind is he had an Interrapid horizontal face indicator that looked like it was in excellent condition, and I think he sold that for $60 or $70, and I would have liked to have had that. That was a nice indicator, and I actually got there in time to see the guy buying it. So that's always kind of, oh well, there'll be others. I have plenty of indicators, but I didn't have one of those, so that's why I thought it'd be nice to. I do have that. I have that weird one. Anyways, getting off the subject. So, I made sure I got there earlier for this, and I'm glad I did, because I got there, and maybe 10 minutes after I got there, or 15 minutes after I got there, because I got there almost like half an hour early, another guy showed up. So he was second in line. So we made some small talk, but we didn't talk about anything. I looked in the window and I could see this sitting on the floor in there. Got a better look at it. Realized the more I looked at it, the more I wanted it. And when the door opened, we walked in. I immediately went right over to it, and guy number 2 was there for it too. So I beat him out on this by, I don't know, 15 minutes or so. So, what is it? Well, you guys know I have a fondness for metal storage cabinets. It's a drill index. It's a big one. And it's a Cleveland. So, I believe this is something that would have been offered by the Cleveland Twist Drill Company. It's got Cleveland labels on both sides. For some reason, they're upside down. So I haven't checked yet, but I think all of these drawers can probably be taken out This thing could probably be flipped over and then the drawers put back in, and then I think it would all the labels would be right side up. But it's numbered 1 through 6. I mean, these labels look like they're just stuck right on. I'm not even convinced that this necessarily is made by Cleveland. It could be that, you know, it's made by somebody else and somebody just stuck these stickers on there, I guess. But there's no sign of any other manufacturer on here. I looked online and checked around, and based on the size of this unit, I think that's actually a pretty good buy at 80 bucks. So you can see the label there on the side, it's upside down. There's a little bit of stuff inside, not much. Let's see, so this bottom drawer, no partitions, just wide open. This drawer is partitioned. We got a little center drill. We got a little scale. Who makes that? That's an LS Starrett scale. That is a tiny 2-inch scale that I almost thought was just a strip of metal. Empty. Some various cards. Some little tiny brass dowels. Small amount. Next drawer up, pretty much empty. Oh, we got a remnants of a Union Tool Company depth gauge. It's missing the blade. 4 miscellaneous letter or number punches. This drawer, as it says, letter drills, actually has the letter drills, letters here and numbers here. But somebody has loaded this with center drills. So there's probably, oh, I don't know, there's a few bucks in center drills in this thing. Oh, these must be, maybe these are center drill sizes. So this was in the, this little tiny sucker here was in the 00 drawer. 0 is empty. That's a number 1. Number 2 is empty. These are number 3. Number 4s. 5. Oh, this one. That carbide? No, I don't think so. And we got a countersink. Alright, not bad. What's that? Number drill sizes, I assume. Every single one of these is empty. Oh, nope, spoke too soon. Number 55 has 1 drill bit in it. Oops, now it's in 54. And the top drawer is fractional drill sizes. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drill bits and jigsaw blade. So, good thing I didn't buy it for the contents. Well, nearing the moment of truth. These drawers are easy to take out. It's just these little tabs you gotta pull out on the side so you can pull them all the way out of the sliders. Now the question is, when you flip them over, will they all fit? Well, nothing trapped at the bottom. You always hope when you take that last drawer out, you're going to find an envelope full of cash taped to the bottom. So far, so good. Now, Cleveland is facing right side up. Just a thing for you anal retentive types. Like me. You can tell how neat I keep everything. Let me just show you a couple things I just picked up at the tool store this past Wednesday. his weekly video wasn't up, but I read his newsletter on his website, and he mentioned Bridgeport Boring Head. So I scooted on down there and found this Bridgeport number 2, which, oddly enough, I don't know how the numbering system works on these, but apparently a Bridgeport number 2 is a 3-inch boring head. So it's got some surface rust on it here and here, but it moves nice and freely, and it doesn't look like the shank here is all beat to hell. So that's the R8. So that'll go right in my Wells index milling machine. And I got this for his advertised price of $40, which is a good deal on one of these if you need one. I actually didn't need one because I've actually got some boring heads. So these are all my boring heads. This funny little one right here that almost looks like a shop-made one is actually a Taft Pierce. It's marked right there. Taft Pierce, and it's made one state over from me. This was made right in Woonsocket, Rhode Island. Taft Pierce made some really nice stuff. I don't know if they're still in business or not. I've got a really nice pair of cast iron V-blocks made by them that go for really big bucks new, and I got a really good deal on them. But anyways, I don't even remember where I got this one. I know I didn't pay much for it. This one is a 3-inch boring head, and this one is marked PA 325-3. Now, I've seen some mention of this on a couple of forums, but no definitive answer as to who actually manufactures this. I did see one of these for sale, and it was advertised as a Criterion, but the interesting thing was, when I looked at the photos for that one, there was a shank on it, a straight shank that was marked, that was actually stamped Criterion. And so I think the seller was just assuming that the boring head was actually a Criterion just because that shank was marked Criterion. But the reality is that this unscrews from this, so who knows what it really is. I also saw on another page, somebody, a Practical Machinist, one of the threads, somebody had mentioned that they thought maybe this was a Yugoslavian-made boring head. It's actually in pretty good shape. The R8 shank on this thing is kind of weird right here. This is kind of beat on, but the head itself is in good shape. So if I had to, I could change the shank. But anyways, so that's that one. So that's a 3-inch. Then I got this little 2-inch one. This one is marked BHR8-4 and APT USA. So this one's manufactured by a company called APT. Haven't been able to find out exactly what company that is, but apparently it's a US made boring head. This is a 2-inch, and this is in the MSC catalog, and new, this is like $317 for this boring head. This is an integral R8 shank. That's actually, this shank is actually integrated into the head. So there's no way this can unscrew from this, which if you reverse it is a nice feature, I guess. Of course, the bad part is if you damage the shank, then you pretty much, I think you're out of luck. So I don't know much about these, but this is in really excellent shape. Really good condition, and I did get a good deal on this also. This has got, I believe, a 3/8 inch hole for the boring bars. Then this is, I think, a 4 or a 3.5 inch genuine Bridgeport head that I bought in the state cheap. And when I got this, for some reason this was taped because this wheel just kind of, this doesn't click, it just moves. You can see it just kind of moves like that. Now you could still lock it down, but it's just kind of a weird deal here. So I don't know if there's something wrong with this or what. This is definitely a genuine Bridgeport head. It is marked such right here. So I don't know if you can see that, but the Bridgeport name is right there, and this is a Bridgeport number 2, which the Bridgeport numbering system's kind of weird. Yeah, so the number 2 Bridgeport head is actually a 3-inch boring head. So this is, I think, just an older, rougher version of this one that I just picked up. So this one is marked the same way, Bridgeport number 2. And when you hold them up side by side, they look rather similar. And this one also moves pretty much the same way. A certain amount of free play in there. So anyways, so this one here that I got with the tape stuck on it and everything, this one also has a R8 shank on it that is just got this one edge here that looks like somebody was beating the bejesus out of it. I don't know if like every time they were getting this out, if they, I don't know what, I have no idea why that would be like that. But it actually is still usable the way it is. I'm pretty sure. I haven't actually run this, but I did try and put it into the machine, and it does seem to go in. So anyways. So I don't know, I think I'm probably going to have to, at some point I'll sit down and evaluate whether or not I really need all of these boring heads. This one right here, this Taft Pierce one, I'm not sure how versatile this could actually end up being because of the fact that it's got this weird little cutter in here. I mean, you can't bore down very deeply with this thing. So I'm not quite sure what purpose this would serve me. I mean, I'm assuming I could get another boring bar that might be a little longer and make this more practical. Oh yeah, and when I picked up that boring head at the tool store the other day, I happened to be going through a box of cutting bits, and I saw this radius cutter. Looks like it's cemented carbide. It's on this angled shank. It's got quite a radius on it there. So I decided, just for the heck of it, since all the cutters in that box were marked $1 a piece, that I'd take this thing and I don't know what I'm going to use it for. I think that if I remember correctly, that these large radius cutters like this are good for taking really fine cuts for a smooth finish. I may be wrong on that, but yeah, what the heck? For $1, I took a chance. Don't think this is marked, or if it was marked, it's worn off now. And at this point, I think I got to mention something. Those of you who are regular viewers of my channel and astute observers have probably noticed the Tim Horton coffee mug is back. Well, funny thing was that that day that I was talking about that I was going to try and glue it, and I had a problem gluing it. I got so disgusted, got glue all over my fingers, and what ended up happening was that's it, break it, why don't you? The handle ended up shifting while the glue was setting up. So this is kind of, you can actually see, there's a nasty overhang here. So I got so disgusted that I actually threw this across the shop, probably 15 feet towards one of my baskets. Well, it hit the top of the basket and then bounced off the concrete floor behind it and didn't break. And I was like, are you kidding me? So it actually rolled behind the big Airco welder, and I hadn't gotten around to getting it out. And the other day I was back there and cleaning out some stuff from behind there, and there was the coffee mug, and I picked it up, and I couldn't believe that the handle is completely intact. It actually, as ugly as it looks, it actually is all glued up. So, other than looking like hell, I think it might actually still be serviceable. So this big crack here that's been here right along is not, still just as bad as it was. And I got a crack on that side, so that's why it doesn't ring. Not that it would have anyways. It's got a definite thud to it, where it should have some noise, some ring to it. Anyways, the thing about the Gorilla Glue is when it's doing its chemical reaction and creating that bond, it foams up and makes this mess. So I'm just gonna do my best to scrape that off, and well, I guess I'll just keep using this mug. Oh, and this is the surface gauge that George Russell gave me on my visit up to his place. Those of you who watch those videos of me driving up and meeting George and picking up those two outboard motors may have briefly, I think I may have briefly mentioned it or in that video, I'm not sure, but he just kind of grabbed it off the bench or wherever it was and just said, "Oh, here, hey, take this too." He says, "I'm never going to use it." So, nice surface gauge. It appears to be a shop-made one. It doesn't appear to be a major maker because I can't find any markings on it anywhere. But it's a real good copy of, I think, of a Starrett. It's very similar to a Starrett. It's got this kind of like a camelback deal here, kind of a hump in the middle, and just the way this adjustment works. This rod being extra long is unusual. This little thumb wheel adjustment being made with just an Allen cap screw recessed in this knurled knob. That's also not conventional, but still a well executed surface gauge. Somebody even took the time to do this diamond pattern here on the bottom. I wonder if that was actually ground at some point or lapped. And it's got the nice holder on the top and a Mitutoyo drop indicator. This is a model 2050-01. So this is kind of a rough indicator, if there is such a thing. And what I mean to say by that is that it's a .01 -20 millimeter indicator. It's not hundred thousandths. But I'll put that in the box with all my other indicators for now, and eventually we'll probably use it on something.